Take me back. Take me back, dear Lord, to the place where I first receive you. I'm asking you to take me back. Take me back. Oh, take me back. Take me back, dear Lord, where I first believed. Greetings, kingdom citizens. Greetings. I do want to share with you a few minutes about getting back. The Lord taking us back to the place where He can use us, to the place where we can be restored in Him. And to teach on that, I want to use 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. Very familiar passage. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Getting back. Getting back. He gives a contingent on turning this thing around. The Lord's contingency is in the word if, and the following words rather, that are placed with if. If my people. If my people. We got to know whether or not we're His people. We have to know beyond a shadow of a doubt. I heard someone say, you have to know that you know that you know that you know. And a lot of people really don't know if they are His people. Oftentimes say that if someone came, rung my doorbell 3 o'clock in the morning just to ask me whose side I was on, I ought to be able to get up, rubbing matter out of my eyes, and tell them emphatically that I am on the Lord's side. He is my Father, and I am His child. If my people, which are called by my name, were sealed by His blood, and His name is stamped in our hearts. We're called by His name. He chose Israel as His chosen people. Thus the lineage, the line, the genealogy falls on us when we say yes to Him and yes to His will, accepting Him as our Father, the Son of the living God, in whom we've confessed with our mouth and have believed in our heart that God, His Father, raised Him from the dead. We're called His children and called by His name. He says, what shall they do? They shall humble themselves. What else? And pray. Then He says, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways. When I think about those contingencies, if we are His people called by His name, He gives these ands. He says, and humble themselves. Point blank, emphatically, there are too many people that think they're more than what they are, and God can use them. God can turn things around for those that feel like they're already headed in the right direction. He says humble themselves. If you were remembering and if you were writing down, in other words, when He says humble yourselves, remember this. He says get down. Come from your position of pomp and circumstance. And brothers and sisters, get down. Then He says, not only that, He says, and pray. He says, then, he says, all people that enjoy doing what they do, enjoy certain things that involve looking holy or pretending to be holy. But he says to you that are listening to me that most times we have a problem with praying. Not only must we get down, he wants us to pray. In other words, you need to bow down. You need to bow down. Then he says, and seek my face. Humble yourselves. Pray. Then he says, seek my face. In other words, he says, you got to get down. You have to bow down. And then he says, don't look around. Don't be distracted. He says, seek my face. Put your spiritual eyes on me. Turn your heart toward me. Don't look around. Focus in on the main objective. All hell could be breaking loose around you. They can come and take your stuff. But still, he says, don't look around. For all of my help comes from the Lord. I look to the hills, for with cometh all of my help. Then he says, and turn from their wicked ways. We have to get down. You have to bow down. Don't look around. He says, and then turn from your wicked ways. What are you saying, Radford? I'm saying turn around. A lot of people will make it if you could just turn around. It's easy. Turn around. And then you're turning around. No one says that it's going to be a type of thing that has to happen overnight. I can raise both my hands and say, I'm still turning. And there ought to be a witness out there with me. I'm still turning. The process is by the renewing, the ing, renewing of my mind. Then it says, then. I wish I had a megaphone. I wish I could express to you about the then. If you get a line upon line, precept upon precept, he says, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. If you get the first part right, he says, then I'll move in heaven. He says, what you bind on earth, if you get the first part right, he says, that I will bind in heaven. And what you loose on earth, he says, then I'll be able to loose it in heaven. But the connection won't happen unless you humble, unless you get down. The connection won't happen from earth to glory unless you pray. That means unless you bow down. The connection won't put fire in the line unless you seek his face. That means don't look around. He says, and then the connection won't happen in the heavenlies to be manifest on earth until you turn around. So beloved kingdom citizens, remember that you can be restored and he can take you back. Be blessed.